Hello and welcome. Today we're taking a look at the SUQQU Winter Collection. This is part 2. I do have a part 1 video with the 3 items I received in PR, but I love the collection so much I purchased the rest of the collection, and that's what we have in today's video. And so I'll leave part 1 linked down below in the description box. We're also going to take a look at the new brushes from Beautylish and SUQQU. They did a beautiful winter collaboration, so we're going to take a look at those. And this video, we've got some swatches, demos, and details, but we also have a little bit of a get ready with me style. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's do a little get ready with me using the items from SUQQU I just purchased. And we're going to start off with primer. I'm using the Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen. This is SPF 40. And they sent me this particular tube. However, this is something I've been buying since this first came out many years ago, like way before I started YouTube and everything. So this is something that I've used a ton, and sometimes I just use it as sunscreen if I'm like traveling to visit relatives and things like that. This is a sunscreen I just carry around in my handbag with me because it doesn't leave that greasy feel on your skin. It has like a silicone texture, and so it feels smooth. I can use it as a primer or as a sunscreen. So, you know, I love the double duty. So that is what I'm using as primer today. And then let's go in with the SUQQU foundation. First though, I'm going to take some concealer. And I'm going to use the Chanel Sublimage concealer, which, you know, I think it's one of the best concealers. It's very expensive. You know, you do have a jar, which, you know, I know that's not always the favorite application or container for concealers, but it works well with this particular one. So I'm going to bring you in closer. I'm taking the BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose set in N14. So this is kind of like a multi-purpose brush. You could use this for concealer, which is how I like to use it, but it also works really well for highlight or even like anything that you need. Like it's like a small detail brush. So this is the Chanel Sublimage concealer, and with my allergies and all of the stuff I've had to do recently, I haven't been getting enough sleep. So I think this concealer, one of the great things about the Chanel concealer is that it really adds coverage without looking cakey or heavy. So I'm going to use the SUQQU foundation this is shade 205, which is one of their new shades. But unfortunately, they only have it in this foundation here. This is the Kyoto Fupa. I guess it's the F04 now, but it was the Fupa 03 many years back. And I have several of these because it is one of my favorite foundation brushes. It is synthetic. And it also works well to like buff in like mineral powders and things like that as well. But let me just add a little bit more over here on this side. And this SUQQU foundation, I really like how this has more of a skincare kind of feel to it. Feels more like a creamy moisturizer, but you can see, you can get, I'd say like a medium coverage, almost up to full coverage, depending on how much you put on. And you get this beautiful sheen here. Just gonna add a light dusting of this powder from SUQQU. This came out last year, and I love these, but they were really, you know, hard to get. So I'm just gonna add just a tiny bit. I think a good replacement for this is the SUQQU loose powder because the coloring's pretty similar. But in the press formula, you know, you can pick up even less product. So this is a super light layer. All right, so let's move into blush. So this is the blush in 103. And I want to test out the new Beautylish and SUQQU brushes. So let me show you this handle while we're up close here so you can see what this looks like. And it's a really beautiful wintry snow design here. Guess this is a better way to look at it here. You can see everything here is we've got snow that goes all the way around, but the actual design is going to be right here by the logo. We have a buffing brush, which is nice and soft. And then we also have this blush brush. So you can use blush for highlight. You could use this for powder underneath the eyes, around the nose, and so forth. So those two are very versatile. We also have a couple of eye brushes here. So we have more of a liner style pencil, and you can see we definitely have enough, I guess, enough stiffness to that to work well. And then we have a crease brush here. It's a smaller crease brush, and this one has a little bit of firmness to it as well. So we'll take a look at those in a minute. But I wanted to take a look at the new blush, and we're going to use both of these brushes. So we're going to start off just here in this lighter portion. Now, sometimes these duos are going to be, you know, where you've got a highlight on one side and a blush on the other. And sometimes it is just going to be a situation where you have a deeper and a lighter. So we're going to take this deeper one here, and I'm going to put this one right below it, so you can see the difference in the color. Now, normally I'll just wear these all mixed together. So let's go ahead, let's mix them all together with the buffing brush on the other side here. So very soft, and we can build this up. There we go. So this is the blush in 103. I'm actually going to remove this, and then let's put this on more softly. All right, so I'm going to use the blush brush. Just going to mix the shades here and just put this on softly on this side. And then I'll use the buffing brush for a softer application on the other side. All right, so what I'm gonna do next, it does look a little harsh still on my left here. So I'm just going to wipe off my bristles here, and let's just take a little bit of powder and kind of buff that in a little. I'm gonna take one of my favorite finishing powders. This is a Cle de Peau from SUQQU. This is an old powder. They don't make it anymore, so I don't use it too often. And I'm just gonna kind of buff over the blush to kind of subdue that a little bit. You can see this powder is kind of velvety, and it gives this beautiful sheen without any shimmer or anything like that. And I think it's just a really beautiful finish. Now, I also picked up the new highlighter in 102. So I have the 101, the white one, but I picked up the 102. We're going to take the side of this brush here and put this on softly here. Ooh, I like that. And then on the other side, let's add just a little bit more. So I'm going to use the flat part of the brush. So what do you think? I think this highlighter is really pretty. One of the things I love about these Reflect highlighters that they came out with is that we have shimmer, we've got shine, I mean, there is finely milled glitter in there. You can see some little sparkling pieces, but I wouldn't call it a glittery highlight. So we'll swatch this in a minute, but let's go ahead and finish this look off before we move on. So I'm going to use this for my base today. This is the Liquid Luster Eyes. We're going to use the gray one. This is number 105. So I'm just going to take this, and this will be just kind of like a base shade. So I'm taking this larger Tansado brush here and just softly blending this in. You can see I'm going up in the crease, but this is such a sheer product that, you know, I'm just getting a little bit up here. It adds a little bit of shimmer with the sparkle embedded in the product. I'm not getting much color because I'm using just a little bit. So it's just a tiny hint for a base. I just wanted to add just a little something there, and then we're going to move in with the powder eyeshadows. I have to say I absolutely love this palette. I mean, these are stunning. They are going to be like classic everyday shades with a little shimmer. And let's start off, we're going to use the Beautylish crease brush. We're going to go into the brown, and this is the only matte shade in the palette. So I'm just kind of getting stuff all over the brush and then tapping off the excess onto a microfiber cloth. So this is it. I just wiped off the bristles on the brush. I wiped it off on the cloth, and I'm just kind of diffusing the crease a little bit. I'm taking a clean crease brush. This is the Rephr 15 Max, and you can see it's large and fluffy, and I'm just going to softly kind of diffuse some of that brown there. And then let's see how versatile this crease brush is. So I want to go in with, you know what, let's go in with this more purpley berry shade here. We're going to put this on the outer portion. You can see this has some brown in it as well. And then this shade, I love this because it's kind of, it's a gray, but it's like a greenish gray. So I just love the little bit of shift in there. It's really a pretty shade, and it's like a shimmery neutral. All right, and then let's go in with the white sparkly shade for the inner corner here. And just gonna kind of blend that. So I'm taking that clean crease brush again and just kind of going over that area one more time. And for the liner, let's go in with this shimmery berry shade. So I'm going to use the brush from the SUQQU and Beautylish collection. And let's just see if we can. So I put the brush in the eyeshadow, and then I tap off the excess on my cloth just to make sure it prevents a little bit of fallout. All right, and then on the bottom, let's go in with the grayish green shade. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of that right on the outer portion. So just the outer half. And then I'm gonna go into the white shade here. I'm going to just kind of blend a little bit of that on the inner portion. For mascara, I'm gonna use the Sarah Creole. This is called the Back of the Cab, and I'm just gonna curl my lashes first. And for the lower lashes, I'm taking the Addiction Tokyo in Matcha Blink. This is number 16S. I just really love this like kind of light olivey green shade on the lower lashes because it adds a little something, but it's not as deep and dark as a regular mascara, you know, your blacks and your browns. So I don't know, I like it. For brows, I'm going in quick and easy with the SUQQU Coloring Eyebrow Gel, and this is shade number 2, and you can see it really emphasizes all those little baby hairs that I have that you just really can't see, you know, particularly right here at the front. And yeah, it's just fast and easy then. So this is the eye look then. It's just a great like everyday palette. Let's move on to lips. So this is the other lip shade. Honestly, I don't know if this is going to be able to beat the one that I have in the part 1 video, which is shade number 108. So you can see the difference here, pink versus this one's going to be more of a peachy nude. So this is 109, and let's see how it looks. These are the lip glows. All right, so you can see this is a really nice nude shade. It is going to be a warmer nude. One of the great things about these lip glows and the lip fogs from SUQQU is the applicator. It has like the perfect amount of flexibility in there, making it really easy to use. But I have to say, this is a nice shade, but it doesn't really go with this look. So I'm going to put on the other one. This shade just works so much better for me with this particular look. In my opinion, I love, it's like a little bit of, there's a touch of peach in it, but it's like a rosy nude with a touch of peach, and it's great. So this formula itself, this is essentially, it's in between a lip gloss and a liquid lipstick. It's very comfortable, but you're going to have kind of an opaque satin sheen to it. They're essentially opaque lip glosses. So I personally really like them. They're so comfortable. And Yeah, so this is the final look. Let's take a look at all the products we looked at today. So before we move on to the arm swatches for all of our products, let's take a look at the eye swatches. I did do eye swatches for all of the eyeshadow products here. So let's take a look at those while we talk a little bit about this collection. So this collection is called the Snow Flurry Winter Collection from SUQQU, and it has already launched at Selfridges, but Thursday, October 10th, it is due to launch at Liberty and Harrods. So definitely keep an eye out for it because I think this is SUQQU's best collection this year. This is definitely my favorite out of all of the different color stories and stuff they've come out with. We've seen photos for the holiday collection, which is a great set of neutrals, but honestly, I like this collection more so. So I think it's absolutely beautiful. I do have a part 1 video featuring the other items. Those were items I received in PR. I ordered the entire rest of the collection, which is what you see here today, because I love the colors in here so much. And I have to say the quality is top notch. So really high quality performance shades. Formulas are fantastic. They're smooth and comforting. You can have these shimmer shades without any grittiness. I love it. So according to SUQQU, this collection is inspired by a sudden snowfall that envelops your bustling town in a peaceful silence. The collection captures the evanescence and coldness of the season. The wintry atmosphere with its gray sky and faint glow of soft light evokes a calmness as snowflakes flutter down from the sky. Snow Flurry interprets the crisp chill in the air and the sparkling icy lights with cool blues and cozy grays to create a cool look. And as I mentioned, I do have part 1 in a separate video, and that's where I had some of the cooler tone options. We've got the cooler blush, the cooler eyeshadow palette, which are these beautiful blues. And here, I think this palette, it's really just a beautiful take on some neutrals. We have some warmer shades in the palette, but overall it's neutral, leaning a little bit cool, and it's kind of the perfect neutral palette with shimmer for me. I love it. So this one here, number 142, is described as chic silver and misty brown. Its neutral undertones make this palette suitable for all. The soft matte brown offers a grounded base for layering the shimmering shades on top for a chic finish. And we also looked at the 2 liquid luster eyes here, and we have 2 different shades. We have 105, which is described as a glittering silver, and 106, a deep grape. And these are really going to be just kind of a liquid eyeshadow that is sheer. So we're not looking at a pigmented liquid eyeshadow. These are comforting and silky on the eyes, and they feel soothing to me. So my eyes are getting a little sore from all the eye swatches because we've been doing so many holiday releases, but these actually feel comfortable on the lids. Now, I do think that these are, they crease. If you pile them up, you really layer the color on there to get a more pigmented look, and you wear that, you are going to get creasing with these. They are not a crease-proof product. So the way I like to use them is more as a soothing base. So I got a little bit of that gray color to mix in with the brown in the crease, just to add a little bit of coolness there and a little bit more of a more subtle transition all the way to the brow. But these are going to be sheer. The great thing is you can get a little bit of shimmer on your lid without the shimmer moving or shifting. So I really like that. I think these are 2 really beautiful shades, but I like to use these liquid luster eyes for like more of a no makeup look, or as a base and put powders on top. And they perform very well as a base, by the way. So if you're going to sheer it out like I did today, you don't have to worry about creasing. It's really only if you're going to layer the color on for a more pigmented look. As for our product details, the liquid luster eyes have a 1-year shelf life. We have 7.3 grams of product, and all of the SUQQU products are made in Japan. The eyeshadow palette is our standard size with a 1-year shelf life and 6.2 grams of product. And it does come with a couple of utensils. I have to say, I think this is a fantastic collection. Moving on to the blushes. These are the blurring color blushes, and they came out just this year. So they replaced the Pure Color blushes, and I really like them. I think they are a great product. They're similar in formula to the Pure Color blushes, but one of the things that we've noticed, or at least I've noticed over the last year or two, some of those shades of the Pure Color blushes, particularly the limited edition ones, have been developing hard pan more. And so what they did is they removed oil from the formula, which is actually helping prevent some of those hard pan issues. It allows for a very smooth gradation there, and it's very finely milled. So I think it's a great product, and it's very buildable. They have some deeper shades and some lighter shades. I love the ones in the permanent line, but these two limited edition ones I think are really beautiful. Particularly, honestly, I really love both of them, but the one that I have in part 1 is like an all-time favorite blush that I have just been reaching for nonstop since I received that one. And as I mentioned, the lip fluid glows, these are just a really beautiful, liquid lip product, kind of in between a gloss and a lipstick. Think of an opaque lip gloss, not quite as, I wouldn't say it's quite as dewy look as a traditional lip gloss. You don't have that thicker, clear look to it. This is definitely a very beautiful, soft sheen liquid lipstick. It's very comfortable. They're hydrating on the lips, and I just think these are a really beautiful product. And as I mentioned, the applicator is incredible. So I personally love this whole collection. Let's take a look at all of the arm swatches. Let's start off with the Liquid Luster Eyes. So we have shade, this one's 106. Let's start with 105. So we have 105. And you can see we have kind of this angled applicator here. I'm going to put this one right here. And you can see, you can really shear that out. But if you build it up, this is about the intensity that you want to get. If you try to make it more intense than that, that's when creasing really can become an issue. But you can see this is kind of a nice, soft gunmetal gray. Now, with grays, again, they can lean either blue or green or gray. I would say this one has a little bit more of a slate blue glint to it. 106, this is our grape shade here. And this is more of a dusky purple. So you can see there is a little bit of gray in the purple. We do have shimmer in both of these. And I think they're both really beautiful shades that pair well with so many other products. So those are the Liquid Luster Eyes, but let's take a look at the eyeshadows here. And this is number 142. And you can see we've got this beautiful kind of ivory sparkle shade. A lot of times we're going to have more of a topper shade. You can use this as a topper. You can put it on more sparingly, but you can see that the shimmer is concentrated enough that you could use it on its own as well. Then we have this matte brown, and it's a pretty truly neutral brown. Formula is great. And then we have more of this shimmering satin gray that actually has a bit of green in there. So we've got a little bit of a greenish gray. And then this last shade here is more of a plum. So we've got a little bit of red, a little bit of brown, tiny bit of purple kind of mixed in there. And we're going to have shimmer in that as well. So these two are both kind of satin shimmers, whereas our first shade is definitely a true glitter. And then we have the matte brown. Now let's go ahead and swatch the other palette as well. This one is in part 1. So this is palette 143. Just going to we'll leave a little bit of space there. So you can see that we have kind of this light blue shimmer. It is going to be a little bit different than the one in the 142 palette. You can see this is a little bit more finely milled, and it's not as sparkly. So it's not going to be quite the same there. And then we have this matte green, and the green has a little bit of blue in there. And then these two teals, and we're kind of going into like a medium teal and then a deeper teal with a little bit more green here. And I just think it's a really beautiful palette, great for cooler tone looks. Now, I just wanted to do a quick comparison. This is an old Cle de Peau palette that it just kind of made me think of. So this is going to be number 306 in the old Cle de Peau eyeshadows. So I'm just going to go ahead and swatch these kind of right here on the side, because we do have a similar color story, except we don't have the brown and the gray green in there. but you can see that this shade is going to be close. We have kind of a light pink instead of the white. This is going to be more silvery than the grayish green. And it's kind of like a mix of these two shades here together. And then we don't have the brown. But if you do have this older palette, you do get a similar color story. You could just kind of mix in a matte brown from your collection already, and you kind of have it. Now, let's take a look at the blushes. And let's start off with this one here, 103. So we're going to swatch the deeper and the lighter and then mix together. So let me put those here. So here's the deeper, and here is the lighter, and here is the mix. So that's the blush. And I'm just going to put a buffed version of all of the shades mixed together right there. So you can see that this is kind of like a deep, it's a deep tea rose, but it has a little bit of nude peach mixed into it. I think it's a really beautiful shade. And for my complexion, I can go in sparingly with it and get a really beautiful look. But if you have medium skin tone and above, I think this is just a really beautiful everyday nude. And I personally love it. Now, the other eyeshadow, 102, this is the one I've been using a ton. So let's do the same thing there. And deepest shade, lightest shade mixed together. And you can see that this is a nice soft pink with a touch of purple in there. So it's going to be a cooler tone blush. So these are the two blushes in the collection. We have 103, and then this one here is 102. And then let's take a look at the lip gloss. So this one here is 109. We'll start with that because this one is new here. We're going to put those right here. Oops. And let me swatch that a little bit better right there. So you can see that this is going to be a warm peachy nude. And I think it's a really beautiful shade. Again, this would be a great everyday shade for those with slightly warmer coloring. For me, my favorite is this 108, which is going to be more of your soft rose. And you can see we do have a little bit of peach in there. Really beautiful shade though. I've been wearing this and the blush constantly. And then let's take a look at these brushes from Beautylish and SUQQU. So this is a collaboration between the two brands, and we have 4 brushes in the set, and we are looking at a maki design with a temple here. Let's see here. There we go. So you can see it there. So this is inspired by the Kinkakuji temple in Japan. And I think it's a really beautiful design on here. I love how we have some of the design going all the way around. Just something to note, there's no clear coating on this, so you can feel the artwork. It is raised. So the brushes retail for $150 US. You have to buy them as a whole set. They do come with this silver case, and I'm moving this around so you can kind of see when the light hits it a certain way, you almost get a little bit of that opalescent quality to it. So this is silver, but a lot of times when we see like the silver pouches, you still feel the material. You feel like a clear vinyl coating on here, making it really easy to clean. And I like how we have a magnetic closure without having to snap that in. So it's just a nice little brush pouch here. I actually, I always just I don't discard them, but I don't really use them. And I give them to, people who need them and things like that. So this one I actually think I'll keep, and I'll use that one with traveling. So I think it's a nice pouch. So you can take a look at the dimensions on the Beautylish website. We do have 4 brushes in the set, and as I mentioned, they all have to be purchased together. Now, these are all fude brushes made of uncut SUQQU goat hair. Now, SUQQU goat hair is kind of a higher quality of goat hair. This is what Sonia G typically uses, but I have to say, this buffing brush and the blush brush here, they feel silkier. They feel like a higher grade than what we typically see. So they definitely feel very soft and luxe. So I just wanted to do a couple quick comparisons here. This is a Kyoto Yoshiki brush, and this has a very high grade of goat hair as well. It's also incredibly silky. If I'm comparing the two, I would say that the Kyoto Yoshiki brush, this feels slightly more fine. Then the SUQQU one here, you can feel the individual hairs. They're a little bit more wavy compared to the Koh Gen Do. And brush wise, they both feel incredibly soft on the skin. I'm going to use my arm here, but you can see that this Koh Gen Do is going to be a bit more dense. And we have a little bit of a softer finish with the SUQQU Do. Another difference here is you can see that this is pretty much straight. We've got kind of straighter edges here. And these are going to be slightly rounded at the edges. Again, giving you that softer finish. Now, this brush, it's dirty, but this is the SUQQU soft buffer. But you can see that this is going to be significantly different. It's more rounded and so forth. So really, this is a great brush as well. I would say this is very high quality SUQQU, but this one does feel slightly softer to me. And last up, this is a smooth buffer from SUQQU. And you can see that this is going to be a little bit, the SUQQU Do is a little bit larger than that. It's not going to be as large as the Buffer Pro. And this one here is a Buffer Pro. So you can see this is kind of an in-between size. Handle-wise, we do have shorter handles here. So just something to note, between the Smooth Buffer and the Buffer Pro, these are going to be more dense. Whereas the SUQQU Do, you can see we've got more flexibility and again, more rounded edges. So it's going to give more of a softer buffed finish. I have to say, I really like these two larger brushes in the set. And I think this is just a really great brush that, again, you can use under the eyes, you can use for blush, highlight, you could use it for contour, you can use it to powder like your T-zone and so forth. You can see we have kind of this flat head here. We've got the pinch ferrule, but we have this really nice shape here, this angled shape that really gets into the smaller area as well. I actually don't have a great comparison for this brush, so we're just gonna leave it at that. As for the crease brush, this is kind of a standard crease brush, just some handle size comparisons. This is the Refer 15 Mini SUQQU Crease Pro, so you can see the Beautylish and SUQQU Do, again, is going to be shorter. I just wanted to show you these for size comparisons for the brush head. You can see that the Beautylish and SUQQU Do is going to be a little bit more narrow. Our diameter is similar. It's kind of right in between the Refer 15 Mini and the SUQQU Crease Pro for the actual diameter, but we have a bit more of a stronger taper compared to the Refer. So, and it actually stays put together more. So our actual surface area of the head here is going to be more narrow, a little bit more firm. The SUQQU is also going to be more rounded. You can see this one stays pretty firm as well, but it's going to be a little bit larger. This having more of an angle here allows you to use this brush, you know, a little more easily in places like the inner corner, smudgy under the eyes, and so forth. So you get a little bit more precision with that. Same thing with the Refer here is going to be more like the SUQQU, where we've got more of that rounded edge. It stays a little bit more firm, but it is going to be smaller than the SUQQU. So size-wise, I'd say the Beautylish one is going to kind of be in between these two brushes, but having the finer, more tapered point gives you a little bit more precision. So it's going to perform a little bit more like a smaller brush with a nice density level. Overall, I think it's a nice crease brush, easy, versatile to use. But the set, you know, you would buy this set for the handles and for the two larger brushes, in my opinion. The eye brushes are just kind of like standard. So here is your brow brush. You can use this for brows. I like to use it for liner, but you can definitely use it for brows as well, which is the intended purpose. And this has a nice firmness to it. There's no particular, you know, standout qualities to this. It's a standard brow brush. So really, in my opinion, the set is worth it if you're interested in these two brushes. I have to say, I really love both of these two brushes. So in my opinion, this set is worth it for me. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I do really like how soft it is. And because we are using goat hair and it's undyed, you can safely use liquids, creams, and powder products with these brushes. It's just so soft. I really like it. So these two brushes, again, are the star of the set. You have to purchase all four brushes as a set. I think it's worth it if these fill a gap in your collection, because again, we have very soft SUQQU goat hair. It's very versatile. And these, I think these are two really beautiful brushes. So those are great. Overall, everything we talked about today, I'm really happy with everything here. I brought out one of my favorite, sunscreen primers from the Supergoop. I think that's a great product. My kids love to use that as sunscreen on their faces when we're kind of out and about because, again, it's not like greasy feeling. And then the SUQQU Winter Collection, I absolutely loved it. So I think the whole collection is beautiful. If I had to pick my very favorites from the entire collection, it would definitely be, I have to say, I think the 142 eyeshadow palette beats the 143, although I love both of them. And then the 102 blush is still my favorite over the 103, but I think they're great. And if you've got medium skin tone or deeper, I think this is a really beautiful daily blush. The lip shade here in number 108 is my favorite, the pink one. And then between the two of these, I really like both of them. I don't really have a favorite with the liquid luster eyes. It's really hard to choose. So yeah, overall, I think it's a great collection. If you're looking to pick up just one thing from the collection, then I'd probably go with the blush or the eyeshadow palette. And then I just realized I forgot to swatch the highlighter. So let me just swatch the Reflect Color highlighters real quickly. So this is the one I had first. So this is the 101, and we'll put these right here, right in between the eyeshadows. You can see it's a shimmery white. It's cooler toned white than the eyeshadow in the 142. We have shimmer. It's a gel powder formula. You don't feel any grittiness, and you don't really have to deal with a ton of like glitter cheeks. Let me just make a larger swatch of this one over here as well, so you can kind of see that buffed in. I think it's a really beautiful highlighter, and that's one I've been using a ton. But new to me is this one, 102. So this is the Sakura Quartz. This is going to be more of a metallic, it's kind of like a warm nude pink shade. And I think it's really beautiful. You could totally build that up as a shimmery blush if you want something that's strong. But I think it blends, if you use a light hand, it blends beautifully with a blush to give just a little bit of a hint without looking like a stark highlighter. So these are the two highlighters in 101 and 102. They are limited edition, and I think they're a really nice formula and great colors. So I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to know what your favorite items from today's video are and your thoughts on the products here in general. So I'd love to know what you think. Please share down below in the comments. And we have so many new releases just coming out every single day. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay tuned for all of the new releases we have coming up. Again, really great products today from SUQQU, the Beautylish Chikuhodo collection. And yeah, I think it's a really great set of items here. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you very soon.